Me and my corny intros. Hey guys, it's Bill. And today I am at a local forest preserve-y kind of sanctioned area, I guess. Little nature spot not too far off the road. And I am collecting free reptile food for my pets. There is food that is free. There are some caveats to it, but let's talk about it today. A lot of times we go to the grocery store to get reptile food, and I will continue to do that because I know the food is healthy, insecticide, pesticide free, all that kind of stuff. But there are weeds that grow local that are very edible for us, very edible for our herbivores. And I will, especially in the spring and summer months when it's kind of plentiful, I will harvest what's the word I'm looking for? Sustainably harvest weeds from local areas to supplement my reptiles diet, offer variety. If you watch any of my videos, you know I'm a huge fan of variety in reptile diets. And so in this video, let's talk about, there's probably plenty of edible weeds. I'm only scratching the surface in this video. This might be like an introduction to it. But let's talk about the four major weeds that we can use as edible herbivore food. So probably the most obvious, most recognizable weed in North America is the dandelion. These guys are wet because it recently rained, but the dandelion leaf and the dandelion flower and stem are all edible. They're edible for us, but they're edible for our reptiles specifically. And so in the early summer months, I will try to grab the flowers and feed them out as much as possible, but I will definitely harvest the dandelion leaves. So I said sustainably harvesting, and I don't know if that's an actual thing or not, but I call it a thing. I'm not going to rip the whole plant out, but I'm going to grab just a few of the leaves on each of these plants, just so the plant can kind of stay. That's just kind of how I do it. So I'm not tearing out the whole plant. I'm just grabbing some of the leaves. The rest of the leaves can stay. The plant can continue to grow. Another very common, very well-known weed is the plantain. It kind of has these big leafy, stringy leaves. I remember being a kid and picking these and pulling the little strings out of the leaves. But this is very nutritious. This is another very readily available weed. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to pull a few leaves off of each plant, and we're going to collect some plantain. Number 3 is clover. Clover grows pretty regularly all over where I'm at in Wisconsin. And sometimes the species of clover gets those little white flowers. Those white flowers are also edible. Clover can be a little harder to harvest because it's smaller, but I will grab little random clumps of clover. A lot of times too, what I will do is I'll bring my animals outside where they're getting natural sunlight, and then they can munch on the clover to their heart's content. And that's something I can do as well. Okay, we have a little modest collection of dandelion, clover, and plantain. I sometimes will harvest way more. I just chose to film this video here at this little park today. And that brings me to a really quick conversation. There are two very important things to remember when you are trying to harvest wild edibles, weeds, whatever you want to call them for your animals or for yourself. And one is don't trespass. Don't go into people's properties. Don't cross barriers or boundaries. Don't go where you're not invited to go, or that's not open to the public. And that's number 1. Number 2 is absolutely make sure that where you're harvesting from, they don't spray pesticides, herbicides, anything like that at all. They're not treating the grass for weeds. Make sure that the plants you are harvesting are safe and free from any chemicals or anything like that at all. We don't want them in our system. We don't want to expose our reptiles to them. And those are two really, really big rules when it comes to foraging, whatever you want to call it, for ourselves and for our reptiles. I am a complete noob when it comes to this, but these are kind of the big 4 weeds that I like to get and harvest and feed out to my animals when they're available. So I got 3 of the 4. The 4th one I'm having a hard time finding, I'm going to keep looking around, and then we'll talk about it. If I can find some, I'm going to walk around more towards the street and the parking lot, because unfortunately I tend to find this number 4 weed more in urban areas, and this might be too nature for it to grow. So let's check it out. A lot more dandelion, a lot more plantain. Again, I'm sure there are plenty of other edible weeds out here. I'm not claiming to be an expert at all, but in my noob foraging experience, these are the obvious ones to identify, easiest ones to identify, and the most common ones to find here in southeast Wisconsin. There's lots of the 3, but where's that 4th one? I just love being outside, whether it's herping, just taking a walk, foraging, looking for weeds or mushrooms or whatever, hearing the sounds, hearing the noises, taking in the smells. Soaking wet feet. It's a little chaotic back here, and it's a long story, but I have this tub and some wild weeds have grown. I like the aesthetic. I have to make sure that it's edible stuff before I put my tortoises outside. But if we look right here, this is what I've been looking for. This is common purslane, and it is a very edible weed for humans as well as herbivores. But there's a couple things to note about it. I'm gonna pull one of these chunks off right here. Common purslane kind of looks like a succulent. The stem is reddish and it's a little squishy. The leaves are a little squishy, but this is edible for your reptile. They can eat the leaves, they can eat the stems. There is another weed that is not edible. It is called milk purslane, and when you pull the stem off, a little white milky substance will come out, and that is not a good weed to feed your reptile, so stay away from that. Also, there's another weed that looks similar to purslane, but the stem is not squishy like a succulent-y stem. The stem is really hard. It's red, but it looks more like a stick stem. That's another weed. Don't utilize that weed at all. Common purslane, you could tell it's got like the squishier stem. It has the fuller leaves, and when you pull it off, it does not have milk coming out of it, and this is an edible weed for your reptiles as well. This is the one I have been looking for. Okay, unfortunately, a lot of time has passed since I filmed the first part of that video, and the second part, I got busy with work and with life. I gotta get back on track. I've said it so many times here on YouTube, but anyways, let's see where we're at here. Really quick bonus clip. I'm at my house, and hold on, let me show you. Above my car, I have a white mulberry tree. The mulberry leaves are edible, the berries are edible. There's plenty of food for my herbivores. And on the side of my house, I grow mint. So I kind of let it go a little wild. I didn't trim it like I was supposed to, but I took a bunch of mint. There's my standard herbivore mix. There's some parsley in there. There's some kale. There's some collard greens, turnip greens. I did soak a little bit of some low sodium or low starch tortoise pellet. And then I've got my little medley of wild greens, dandelion, there's plantain in there, there is clover. I also have some of the mulberry leaves from the tree in my yard and some of the mint, very little bit of the mint, a little bit strong. Let's dice this up and mix it in with this. I did wash them as well. I rinsed them with water for a pretty good amount of time, let them dry out a little bit. Okay guys, so just a quick review. You can go in your yard, you can go in a place that you're not trespassing. Remember, don't trespass, and remember, make sure there's no herbicides or pesticides or anything like that sprayed, no weed killers. You want it to be clean. I would still wash it with warm water anyways, or cold water anyways. But dandelion, purslane, plantain, and clover are like the 4 most common weeds that you can utilize as reptile pet food. You could feed it on its own. You can mix it into their other grocery store foods. provides variety. An assortment of vitamins, minerals, and nutrients can be found in that variety. And now, cue to the Bill Stewart WPS Reptiles, Animals Eating Their Food musical montage.